Today, I will be going through my list of the top 10 teams for the next 5 years in the NFL. Honorable mentions go to the Miami Dolphins, San Francisco 49ers, and the Dallas Cowboys. Let's get started. Coming in at number 10 on this list, I have the Baltimore Ravens finishing with a record of 47-38 over the next 5 years. Now, obviously, if the Ravens don't re-sign Lamar Jackson, they have no business being on this list. But with the assumption they do that, I think they are going to be the 10th best team in the NFL through the next 5 years. Coming in at number 9 on my list, I have the Green Bay Packers. I'm obviously a little biased here being a Packers fan, but I really do believe in Jordan Love. The stuff we've seen in preseason, mixed with the stuff we've seen in the short sample size of the regular season, leads me to believe the Packers will finish with a record of 48-37 and be the 9th best team in the league through the next 5 years. Coming in at number 8 on this list, I had the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't want to hear the Justin Herbert's not a generational quarterback talk. He is. The Chargers will finish with a record of 50-35 through the next 5 seasons, and they will be the 8th best team in the NFL. Justin Herbert's that guy. Believe it. Coming in at number 7 on the list, we have another NFC North team. We got the Chicago Bears. Bears, the only reason that I believe they are going to be a top 7 team in the next 5 years is Justin Fields. He's him. He's ready to go. They just need to surround him with some good pieces. Even mediocre pieces will be fine. And they're going to be the 7th best team in the league. They finished with a record of 53-32 over the next 5 years. Coming in at number 6 on my list, I have another NFC North team, the Detroit Lions. I think Jared Goff is going to be enough to man the ship for the next 5 years. With so many young star players on that defense, and DeAndre Swift and Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Lions, they're going to finish 55-30 for the next 5 years and be the 6th best team in the NFL. Coming in at number 5 on my list, I have the Buffalo Bills. Now, obviously, we know what Josh Allen is. He's a generational QB. But I do think the Bills can get a running game going with a young star like James Cook coming up. I see them finishing with a record of 58-27 and being the 5th best team in the NFL for the next 5 years. I'm running out of time, so check out part 2 to see my top 4 teams of the next 5 years. Part 2 of the top 10 teams for the next 5 years. Let's get it. At number 4, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, this pick may surprise some of you because the Jaguars have been piss poor for so long. However, I think Trevor Lawrence is going to save that franchise. We have just started to see what Trevor Lawrence can bring to the table. Rushing ability, throwing ability, and just IQ overall. I think Trevor Lawrence will lead this team to the light and possibly even a Super Bowl. He will lead this team to a record of 59-26 through the next 5 years and be the 4th best team in the league. At number 3, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. Just like this season, Jalen Hurts will continue to lead this team with MVP caliber rushing and passing stats and will lead this team to a Super Bowl. If they don't win one this year, they're definitely going to win one in the next 5 years. Jalen Hurts is a superstar, and he will lead this team to the promised land. At number 2, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow has proved that he is nothing but a winner. He will lead this team to a 62-23 record through the next 5 seasons, and they will go to the Super Bowl multiple times. Capping this list off, the number 1 team through the next 5 years, to no one's surprise, will be the Kansas City Chiefs. As you guys know, Patrick Mahomes is just special. He will lead this team to many, many more championships and Super Bowls, and will lead them to a record of 66-19 through the next 5 years. If you haven't already, go check out part 1 where I ranked the teams 5 through 10 of the next 5 years. I did football, now it's time for basketball. Top 10 teams over the next 5 years. Let's get it. Before I start, honorable mentions go to the Golden State Warriors, Philadelphia 76ers, and the Phoenix Suns. At number 10, I have the Denver Nuggets. Now, the Nuggets aren't a very young team. They're not a very old team. I picked them in the top 10 for one single reason. A man named Nikola Jokic. I see 1 or 2 more MVPs in Jokic over the span of his career, and he is going to carry this team to a top 10 record, and their record will end up being 237-173. Coming in at number 9 on my list, I have the Detroit Pistons. The amount of young talent the Pistons have is absolutely absurd. The Pistons currently have Marvin Bagley, Cade Cunningham, Killian Hayes, Jalen Duran, and Jaden Ivey. All those guys are 23 or under. That is going to be a scary team in the next 5 years. They finished with a record of 239-171. Coming in at number 8, I have the Dallas Mavericks. We all know Luka's that guy. He's my pick for MVP this year. And as long as he's playing, the Mavericks are going to make the playoffs every single year. He's going to be good enough to lead this team to a record of 246 and 164 in the next 5 years. But I don't think this Mavericks front office is going to get him any help like they haven't in the past. That's why they're not higher on this list, but they're still going to be top 10. Number 7 on my list, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder. In a very similar situation to the Detroit Pistons, but the reason they're higher is because of their draft picks. The Oklahoma City Thunder have a total of 15 first-round draft picks for the next 5 years. They could trade those for players, trade up to get generational talent. The sky is the limit for this team, and that's why I have them finishing with a record of 251 and 159 in the next 5 years. They're going to be top 7. At number 6 on my list, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think this duo of Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns, once they get on the floor for an extended period of time, is going to be absolutely disgusting. Not to mention, if they can get good play from Rudy Gobert and D'Angelo Russell for the next 5 years, if that happens, they may even be higher. I think this Timberwolves team is going to be great. That's why I have them finishing with a record of 255 and 155. I'm running out of time, so check out part 2 to see the top 5 teams on this list. Part 2, the top 10 teams in the NBA for the next 5 years. Let's go. At number 5 on my list, I have the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks are the oldest team in the NBA. However, if you have Giannis on your team, you're going to be a playoff team, and odds are you're going to be top 3 in your conference. And if the Bucks keep Giannis, which I assume there's no way they don't, they will be top 3 in the East consistently, and that's why I have them with a record of 265 and 145 over the next 5 years. At number 4 on my list, I have the New Orleans Pelicans. Man, New Orleans is already looking like a scary team. With Zion continuing to blossom and Brandon Ingram injured through all this, they're gonna be sensational. With other blooming young pieces like Jose Alvarado, Jackson Hayes, Dyson Daniels, and Herb Jones, the Pelicans look like they're going to be a top 4 team in this league for the next 5 years. Their record will be 267 and 143. At number 3 on my list, I have the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now this is an exciting team. Just listen to all these young stars the Cavs have. Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Colin Sexton, who's been injured, Donovan Mitchell, Jarrett Allen. That's a whole starting lineup right there. This team will finish with a record of 268 and 142 over the next 5 years and be the 3rd best team in the NBA. At number 2 on my list, I have the Memphis Grizzlies. This team is just sensational. Built around their superstar Ja Morant, they have a ton of young pieces surrounding him that will continue to blossom for the next 5 years. You have Steven Adams defending the paint, Desmond Bane on the wing, Dylan Brooks on the other wing, and not to mention Jaren Jackson also defending the paint. This team will be sensational. I have them finishing with a 271 and 139 record over the next 5 years. The number 1 team in the NBA for the next 5 years will be the Boston Celtics. I mean, what else do I need to say? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, that's going to equal the number 1 team in the NBA. However, they also have great pieces surrounding them, such as Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams, Grant Williams, and Peyton Pritchard. I have the Celtics finishing 1st in the league over these 5 years with a 275 and a 135 record. Make sure to go watch part 1 if you haven't, where I rank teams 6 through 10. I'm not going to say it till the scoring record gets broken, but man, I really want to call this man my GOAT already. This man on his 38th birthday, carrying a bunch of absolute bums to a win over a decent Hawks team. Hey, if 30 doesn't work, I guess you got to try 40, right? Look at that, he double jumps. Motherfucker just double jumped. Easy lay. Also, what is this? Is this just a new move he added in year 20 million just because he wanted to? Like, what is that, bro? We gotta come up with a name. Let me know in the comments what the hell we should name that. And here he's just out hustling a bunch of 20-year-olds. Get big, lay, get out of my face. Here's some more hanging in there like Kirby from Super Smash Bros. Again. Jesus Christ. Oh, and here's another fuck you baseline jumper that's unstoppable. You think they defend it, but no. Just shoots over him. Looks goofy while doing it, but hey, if it goes in, it goes in. Beautiful. LeBron the GOAT. Top 5 running backs of the past decade. Let's get it. Before I start, honorable mentions go to Frank Gore, Mark Ingram, and Adrian Peterson. Coming in at number 5 on my list, I have Nick Chubb. The thing about Nick Chubb is he has not played nearly the amount of the other guys on this list, but I think he still deserves a spot. While he is 16th in carries, He is first in yards per carry, first in yards per game, 8th in touchdowns, and 8th in rushing yards for this past decade. He doesn't show any signs of slowing down, so I expect 3 more great years out of this guy. He's amazing. At number 4 on my list, I have Shady LaShawn McCoy. Shady in this decade is 3rd in touchdowns, 10th in yards per game, 8th in yards per carry, and 4th in attempts. The reason he's not top 3 is he's only 12th in touchdowns, but man, was this guy fun to watch, and did he pass the eye test. One of the greatest of all time, Shady McCoy. Coming in at number 3, a guy that gets so disrespected on the regular, Todd Gurley. He was 1st in yards, 2nd in TDs, 4th in yards per game, 1st in attempts, and 10th in yards per carry. I know he's slowed down recently, but this guy, since he's playing for the Cowboys, gets way too much hate. He's one of the greatest we've ever seen. That's why he's at number 2. The number 1 running back in the last decade is the king, Derrick Henry. Man, this guy is just different. In the past decade, he is 2nd in yards, 1st in TDs, 3rd in yards per game, 3rd in attempts, and 3rd in yards per carry. I don't know what they fed this guy as a kid, but he is just on another level. He runs through grown men like they're children. I don't know if we'll ever see another running back like this. A well-deserved number 1. It was close between him and Ezekiel Elliott, but at the end I had to choose Henry. He was just the clear guy. Let me know your thoughts on my list. I had a good time making them. I'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments. Today I will be predicting each of the NBA end of the season awards. Now remember, these are just my predictions for who will win, not who I actually think should win. With that being said, let's get into the list. Starting off the list, I have a pretty obvious one. 6th man of the year being Jordan Poole. There's really no one that comes off the bench that touches the productivity that Jordan Poole gives to the Warriors. I could see this being a unanimous selection. He's averaging almost 21 points off the bench. This is a very easy selection starting off. Jordan Poole's the 6th man of the year. Next on the list, I have the rookie of the year, Paolo Banchero. This man has lived up to his number 1 pick hype. In terms of all the rookies in the league, he is number 1 in points per game, number 3 in rebounds per game, number 2 in assists per game, number 5 in steals, and number 5 in blocks. Such a talented player. Really looking forward to seeing his career play out. Maybe even get some MVPs in the future. Coming in next on my list, I have the most improved player, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Man, has this guy been impressive to watch. He has been +6 from his last season in points, +5 in field goal percentage, +5 in three-point percentage. This guy is unreal. He's a true superstar in this league, and I'm looking forward to seeing many great years ahead of him. There's really no one else that touched him. He's another obvious pick. There's just no question. Coming in next on my list for Coach of the Year, I have Michael Malone of the Denver Nuggets. The way this team's played, I know Jokic is just amazing, but man, it has to be some sort of scheme he's doing. Watching Nuggets basketball is the closest to true basketball you can get besides maybe the Warriors in the NBA right now. If the Nuggets continue to stay at least top 3 in the West, I think Michael Malone gets this award easily. Coming in next on my list, I have the Defensive Player of the Year, Draymond Green. Draymond Green is just such a special player defensively. He can stay with the best guards, and he can defend in the paint with the best of them. Now, I think it's really going to be him and Rudy Gobert battling it out at the end, but Rudy Gobert is getting so much hate in the media right now, I think Draymond Green's going to end up getting the most votes. To top off my list, I have the MVP, Luka Doncic. Man, this was a tough decision between him and Jokic, but I think eventually if Luka keeps playing like this and the Mavericks keep performing this well, he's going to edge him out in votes. Right now, Luka is number 1 in points per game, number 4 in assists per game, number 22 in rebounds per game as a point guard, number 1 player impact estimated, number 2 efficiency rated, and the Mavericks are 21 and 16. Everybody loves this guy, including me, and that's why he's my prediction for the MVP. Today, I will be predicting each of the NBA end of the season awards. Now remember, these are just my predictions for who will win, not who I actually think should win. With that being said, let's get into the list. Starting off the list, I have a pretty obvious one. 6th man of the year being Jordan Poole. There's really no one that comes off the bench that touches the productivity that Jordan Poole gives to the Warriors. I could see this being a unanimous selection. He's averaging almost 21 points off the bench. This is a very easy selection starting off. Jordan Poole's the 6th man of the year. Next on the list, I have the rookie of the year, Paolo Banchero. This man has lived up to his number one pick hype. In terms of all the rookies in the league, he is number 1 in points per game, number 3 in rebounds per game, number 2 in assists per game, number 5 in steals, and number 5 in blocks. Such a talented player. Really looking forward to seeing his career play out. Maybe even get some MVPs in the future. Coming in next on my list, I have the most improved player, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Man, has this guy been impressive to watch. He has been +6 from his last season in points, +5 in field goal percentage, +5 in three-point percentage. This guy is unreal. He's a true superstar in this league, and I'm looking forward to seeing many great years ahead of him. There's really no one else that touched him. He's another obvious pick. There's just no question. Coming in next on my list for Coach of the Year, I have Michael Malone of the Denver Nuggets. The way this team's played, I know Jokic is just amazing, but man, it has to be some sort of scheme he's doing. Watching Nuggets basketball is the closest to true basketball you can get besides maybe the Warriors in the NBA right now. If the Nuggets continue to stay at least top 3 in the West, I think Michael Malone gets this award easily. Coming in next on my list, I have the Defensive Player of the Year, Draymond Green. Draymond Green is just such a special player defensively. He can stay with the best guards, and he can defend in the paint with the best of them. Now, I think it's really going to be him and Rudy Gobert battling it out at the end, but Rudy Gobert is getting so much hate in the media right now, I think Draymond Green's going to end up getting the most votes. To top off my list, I have the MVP, Luka Doncic. Man, this was a tough decision between him and Jokic, but I think eventually if Luka keeps playing like this and the Mavericks keep performing this well, he's going to edge him out in votes. Right now, Luka is number 1 in points per game, number 4 in assists per game, number 22 in rebounds per game as a point guard, number 1 player impact estimated, number 2 efficiency rated, and the Mavericks are 21 and 16. Everybody loves this guy, including me, and that's why he's my prediction for the MVP. Best running back from each decade? Let's go. For the best running back in the 1960s, I have Jim Brown. During the 1960s, Jim Brown was first in yards, second in TDs, and he led the league in rushing 5 times. Not to mention, he even won league MVP as a running back. Now, I know this was before the AFL and NFL merged, but he is undeniably one of the most talented and best running backs we've ever seen play the game of football. For the best running back in the 1970s, I have O.J. Simpson. Looking past all the scandals, O.J. Simpson was a damn good football player. During the 1970s, O.J. Simpson was first in yards, tied second for TDs. He was a 1-time Offensive Player of the Year, a 1-time MVP, a 5-time first-team All-Pro, and he was a 4-time rushing leader. The role of the best running back in the 1970s, much like the glove, fits O.J. perfectly. For the best running back in the 1980s, I have Eric Dickerson. In the 1980s, Eric Dickerson was first in yards, first in TDs. He set the single-season rushing record. He was a 4-time rushing leader, a 1-time Offensive Player of the Year, and a 6-time first-team All-Pro. The numbers Eric Dickerson put up in the 80s, nobody else touches him. He definitely deserves to be the best running back in the 1980s. For the reason Barry edged out Emmitt Smith was strictly because of the quality of his team. Emmitt Smith played on one of the greatest dynasties we've ever seen, while Barry Sanders played on a piss-poor Lions team. He carried that team to some sort of relevance, and that's why he's the best running back in the 1990s. For the best running back in the 2000s, I have LaDainian Tomlinson. During the 2000s, LT was first in yards, first in TDs. He set the single-season TD record. He was a 1-time MVP, a 1-time Offensive Player of the Year, and a 3-time first-team All-Pro selection. Watching these guys' highlights was some of the most fun I've ever had watching anybody's highlights. He truly deserves the number 1 spot for the running backs in the 2000s. For the best running back in the 2010s, I have Adrian Peterson. During the 2010s, AP was 3rd in yards, 1st in TDs. He was a 2-time rushing leader, a 1-time MVP, a 1-time Offensive Player of the Year, and a 3-time first-team All-Pro selection. Now, this is the only guy on my list that I've actually had the pleasure of watching live, and man, was it a treat. He was so dominant for so long, and he definitely deserves to be the best running back of the 2010s. Top 5 NBA players of the 21st century? Let's go. At number 5, I have the greatest scorer of all time, Kevin Durant. There were a couple other players in consideration for this spot, but in the end, I decided Kevin Durant deserved it. In the 21st century, Kevin Durant is a 2-time champion, a 2-time Finals MVP, an MVP, a 6-time All-NBA first-team selection, and his defense is the only thing that's lacking, but when you're the greatest scorer of all time, you can make up for it. That's why he's number 5. At number 4, I have the greatest shooter of all time, Stephen Curry. In the 21st century, Steph Curry has 4 championships. He's a 4-time All-NBA first-team selection. He has 2 MVPs, a Finals MVP, and he's a 2-time scoring leader. This one's a no-brainer. He's easily top 5 in the century, and I think he's top 10 all-time. At number 3, I have the big fundamental, Tim Duncan. In the 21st century, Tim Duncan is a 4-time champion, a 2-time Finals MVP, a 2-time MVP, an 8-time All-NBA first-team selection, and a 6-time All-Defensive first-team selection. He wasn't the flashiest player. He didn't have the deepest bag, but man, did he get the job done. The Spurs were so great for so long, largely because of Tim Duncan. At number 2, I have the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant. Obviously, we all know Kobe was just a different animal. Here are his stats from the 21st century. In the 21st century, Kobe Bryant had 5 championships, 2 Finals MVPs, 1 MVP. He was an 11-time All-NBA first-team selection and a 9-time All-Defensive first-team selection. This guy's got to be at least in your top 10 all-time, and he may even be in your top 5, and I wouldn't argue with that. To no one's surprise, the number 1 player of the 21st century is the soon-to-be GOAT, LeBron James. In the 21st century, LeBron was a 4-time champion, a 4-time Finals MVP, a 4-time MVP, a 13-time All-NBA first-team selection, and a 5-time All-Defensive first-team selection. I know it's super controversial, but when LeBron breaks that scoring record, he'll be my GOAT, no questions asked. Best running back from each decade? Let's go. For the best running back in the 1960s, I have Jim Brown. During the 1960s, Jim Brown was first in yards, second in TDs, and he led the league in rushing 5 times. Not to mention, he even won league MVP as a running back. Now, I know this was before the AFL and NFL merged, but he is undeniably one of the most talented and best running backs we've ever seen play the game of football. For the best running back in the 1970s, I have O.J. Simpson. Looking past all the scandals, O.J. Simpson was a damn good football player. During the 1970s, O.J. Simpson was first in yards, tied second for TDs. He was a 1-time Offensive Player of the Year, a 1-time MVP, a 5-time first-team All-Pro, and he was a 4-time rushing leader. The role of the best running back in the 1970s, much like the glove, fits O.J. perfectly. For the best running back in the 1980s, I have Eric Dickerson. In the 1980s, Eric Dickerson was first in yards, first in TDs. He set the single-season rushing record. He was a 4-time rushing leader, a 1-time Offensive Player of the Year, and a 6-time first-team All-Pro. The numbers Eric Dickerson put up in the 80s, nobody else touches him. He definitely deserves to be the best running back in the 1980s. For the reason Barry edged out Emmitt Smith was strictly because of the quality of his team. Emmitt Smith played on one of the greatest dynasties we've ever seen, while Barry Sanders played on a piss-poor Lions team. He carried that team to some sort of relevance, and that's why he's the best running back in the 1990s. For the best running back in the 2000s, I have LaDainian Tomlinson. During the 2000s, LT was first in yards, first in TDs. He set the single-season TD record. He was a 1-time MVP, a 1-time Offensive Player of the Year, and a 3-time first-team All-Pro selection. Watching these guys' highlights was some of the most fun I've ever had watching anybody's highlights. He truly deserves the number 1 spot for the running backs in the 2000s. For the best running back in the 2010s, I have Adrian Peterson. During the 2010s, AP was third in yards, first in TDs. He was a 2-time rushing leader, a 1-time MVP, a 1-time Offensive Player of the Year, and a 3-time first-team All-Pro selection. Now, this is the only guy on my list that I've actually had the pleasure of watching live, and man, was it a treat. He was so dominant for so long, and he definitely deserves to be the best running back of the 2010s. Best NBA player from each decade. Let's go. For the best player in the 1950s, I have Bob Pettit. This one was pretty easy. During the 50s, Pettit had 6 All-NBA first-team selections. He was a 2-time MVP, one of those being the first MVP ever awarded, and he had a championship. This was not very close. Pettit was obviously the best player of the 50s, probably the first superstar we ever saw in the league. For the best player in the 1960s, I have Bill Russell. Now, this may be a little controversial to all you guys, but Wilt Chamberlain just didn't win. And it's not like Bill Russell was a bad player. He won the MVP 4 times in the 1960s. You pair that with his 8 NBA championships during the 1960s, he's the best player of the 60s. Sorry, Wilt. Very close runner-up, but I'm going to have to go with Bill here. Coming in as the best player in the 1970s, I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Let me just read you off Kareem's accolades during this decade. 5 NBA MVPs, 1 championship, 1 Finals MVP, and 6-time first-team All-NBA selections. This was another one that was just so easy. No one even touched him in this decade. Kareem, far and away the best player in the 70s. For the best player in the 1980s, I have Larry Bird. This was probably the closest race of any decade. It was either Magic or Larry. It was a 2-horse race, but I ended up going with Larry. These are some of Larry Bird's accolades during the 1980s. He was a 3-time MVP, a 3-time champion, a 9-time first-team All-NBA selection, and a 2-time Finals MVP. I wouldn't argue with you if you picked Magic Johnson for this, but I just think Larry Bird edged him out a little bit. He's the best player of the 1980s. For the best player of the 1990s, to no one's surprise, I have Michael Jordan. Everybody knows how dominant Michael Jordan was during this decade. He was a 4-time MVP, 6-time Finals MVP, 6-time champion, 7-time All-NBA first-team selections. This was the easiest one of this video. No one touches this man, not even like in his same stratosphere. Easily, Michael Jordan, best player of the 90s. For the best player of the 2000s, I have Kobe Bryant. It was either him and Shaq, and they were practically identical. I just think Kobe edges Shaq out just a little bit. During the 2000s, Kobe was a 4-time champion, a 1-time MVP, a 1-time Finals MVP, a 7-time All-NBA first-team selection, and a 6-time first-team All-Defensive selection. Again, close with Shaq, but Kobe gets the edge. For the best player of the 2010s, to no one's surprise, I have LeBron James. Just as easy as the Jordan selection, LeBron in the 2010s was a 3-time MVP, 3-time champion, 9-time All-NBA first-team selection, and a 3-time Finals MVP. In a generation with so much talent, LeBron clearly separated himself as the best player of this decade. Best wide receiver of each decade? Let's go. Now, I will not be including the 50s or the 60s because the NFL and AFL officially merged in 1970. For the best wide receiver in the 1970s, I have Harold Jackson. Now, passing was still evolving and finding its place in football, but Harold Jackson was still first in yards, first in TDs, a 1-time receiving leader, a 1-time first-team All-Pro selection, and a 4-time Pro Bowler. Like I said, the NFL was still a very run-dominated league, but Harold Jackson did the most with what he could. For the best wide receiver in the 1980s, I have Steve Largent. In the 1980s, Largent was second in yards, first in TDs. He was a 5-time Pro Bowler, a 1-time receiving leader, and a 1-time first-team All-Pro. In the 90s, we saw a huge blossom in the passing game, and I would think it had a little bit to do with what Steve Largent did in the 80s. To no one's surprise, the best wide receiver in the 90s is the greatest receiver of all time, Jerry Rice. This man was a DB's worst nightmare. In the 90s, Jerry Rice was first in yards, first in TDs, a 4-time receiving leader, a 6-time first-team All-Pro, and he showed why he's the greatest of all time. If you don't think this man's the greatest receiver of all time, you need to heavily rethink your list. For the best wide receiver in the 2000s, I have Randy Moss. In the 2000s, Randy Moss was second in yards, first in TDs. He set the single-season TD record, and he was a 3-time first-team All-Pro selection. I think Randy Moss is the greatest red zone threat we've ever seen. When you need him to go get a football in the end zone, that's exactly what he was going to do. For the best wide receiver in the 2010s, I have Antonio Brown. It couldn't have been a more close race between Antonio Brown and Julio Jones, but I decided Antonio Brown edges him out a little bit. In the 2010s, Antonio Brown was second in yards, first in TDs. He was a 2-time receiving leader, and he was a 4-time first-team All-Pro selection. It really comes down to if you value TDs or not. Julio Jones just wasn't a red zone threat, and Antonio Brown was. Best MLB player of each decade? Let's go. Now, because there are so many decades in baseball, this one's going to be a 2-parter. For the best player in the 1910s, I have Ty Cobb. Now, there might not be much in-game footage of Ty Cobb, but his stats are sensational. In the 1910s, Ty Cobb was a 1-time MVP. He was first in average, second in OPS, first in RBI, second in extra base hits, first in hits, first in on-base percentage, and second in slugging percentage. While there might not be much footage to do him justice, the stats show Ty Cobb was definitely the best player of the 1910s. For the best player of the 1920s, I have the great Bambino, Babe Ruth. Some consider this man the greatest baseball player of all time, and for good reason. In the 1920s, Babe Ruth was first in OPS, third in hits, first in RBI, first in slugging percentage, first in on-base percentage, and first in home runs. Babe Ruth really put baseball on the map in terms of popularity, and he was by far and away the best player of the 1920s. For the best player in the 1930s, I have Jimmy Fox. Jimmy Fox dominated the 1930s. He won 3 MVPs. He was third in OPS, first in RBI, first in home runs, first in slugging percentage, fourth in on-base percentage, and second in hits. This man is debatably the greatest right-handed hitter we've ever seen and truly deserves to be the best player of the 1930s. For the best player in the 1940s, I have Ted Williams. This man's swing was truly ahead of his time. He looked more like a modern player in the 1940s than any other highlights I've watched. In the 1940s, Ted Williams was first in OPS, first in home runs, first in slugging percentage, first in on-base percentage, first in average, first in RBI, and he won 2 MVPs. If Barry Bonds didn't exist, this man would be my greatest hitter of all time. Definitely the best player of the 1940s. For the best player in the 1950s, I have Mickey Mantle. Honestly, Ted Williams could have been this decade too, but he just didn't have enough sample size for my liking. In the 1950s, Mickey Mantle was second in OPS, third in home runs, fourth in RBI, third in extra base hit, second in on-base percentage, third in slugging percentage, fourth in hits, and he won 2 MVPs. Oh yeah, and he did all of this on a torn ACL. Definitely the best player of the 1950s. For the best player in the 1960s, I have Willie Mays. In the 1960s, Willie Mays was third in home runs, fourth in hits, fourth in RBI, fifth in slugging percentage, third in extra base hits, second in total bases, and on top of this, he is the best fielding center fielder we've ever seen. With an MVP and 9 gold gloves to go with all those stats I just mentioned, Willie Mays is definitely the best player of the 1960s. Make sure you follow for part 2. 6 NFL records that might be broken soon. Let's go. First up, I have Peyton Manning's record 55 passing touchdowns in a season. Now, there's a couple reasons I think this record will be broken. The first reason being Patrick Mahomes exists, and the second reason being we have 17 games in a season now. Now, if Patrick Mahomes or any quarterback wants to do this, they'll have to average about 3.25 touchdowns a game, which is no easy task, but Patrick Mahomes has already gotten 50. There's no reason to think he can't break 55. Next up, I have Calvin Johnson's single-season receiving record of 1,964 yards. Now, we almost saw Cooper Kupp break this record last year, and if Cooper Kupp is doing that with an extra game, just imagine what we can see in the next couple years. My prediction is we see Justin Jefferson break this in the next 3 to 4 years, and we see a new record set. The passing game's just getting too strong, and adding an extra game is lethal. Next up, I have TJ Watt and Michael Strahan's single-season sack record of 22.5 sacks. This is another record we almost saw get broken last year, and I think it's just a matter of time before we see someone break it. I think there's a lot of guys we could see break this record, but my prediction is Micah Parsons breaks the record in the next couple years. Next up, I have Justin Tucker's record 66-yard field goal. Honestly, I could see Justin Tucker breaking his own record, but there's also a lot of kickers that I think have the leg to do this. I mean, these days you see kickers kicking 60-yard field goals like it's nothing, get them in a mile-high stadium like Denver. We could see this be broken pretty soon. Lastly, yet again, I have one of Peyton Manning's passing records being beat, this time his passing yards in a season. And also again, I have him being beat by Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes has already set the record for passing yards plus rushing yards in a season. It's only a matter of time before this guy passes for 5,500 yards in a season. Besides Patrick Mahomes, I think there's a lot of other guys that could break this record, such as Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and the list goes on. We got a lot of quarterback talent in this league, and they're going to break some records. 6 NBA records that will never be broken. Let's go. The first record on my list is Wilt Chamberlain averaging more minutes than there was in a game. Yeah, that's right. This man played every single minute of every single game, including overtime, and ended up averaging 48.5 minutes per game. This record may be the most unbreakable on this list and the most remarkable. This will never be broken, especially with all the load management we see today. 48.5 minutes. That's just ridiculous. For the next record, I have Scott Skiles and his 30 assists in a game. This is just ridiculous. And to make it even crazier, he actually scored 22 points in this game also. So it's not like he was looking to pass first. Now, this record technically could get broken, but 30 assists just seems so ridiculous that I'm going to put it on the unbreakable list. Also, we've only seen one 25-plus assist game in the 2000s, and that was by Rajon Rondo in 2017. So it's unlikely we'll ever see someone crack the 30 mark. Next, I have Cal Bowdler's record of 7 fouls in an NBA game. Now you may be asking yourself, wait, isn't 6 fouls per person the limit in the NBA? And you'd be right. But for the scorekeeper of this game, 6 fouls just wasn't quite enough. Kyle Bowdler was able to get away with 7 fouls in this game before the refs finally threw him out of the game. With how careful scorekeepers in the modern NBA are and how refs review virtually everything, I never see this record getting broken. This is definitely an unbreakable record. Next, I have another Wilt Chamberlain record, and this time it's his 118 career 50-point games. Now, just to give you some perspective, the next guy up in 50-point games is Michael Jordan with 31. Yeah, you heard that right. Wilt Chamberlain almost quadruples the next guy up, and I think it's pretty safe to say that this record will never be broken. Next, I have Bill Russell and his 11 championships. This is another one that technically could be broken, but it's just such a crazy stat that I really don't think it ever will be. With how much talent is in the NBA these days, to get to the top of the mountain and win a championship 11 times seems so unlikely that I'd be willing to call it unbreakable. Lastly, I have Walt Bellamy's 88 games played in a season. Now, this record is what we call a truly unbreakable record. This record was made possible when Bellamy was traded from the Knicks to the Pistons in the middle of the season, which ended up in him playing 35 games with the Knicks and 53 with the Pistons. Since then, the NBA has added rules that make this record truly unbreakable. Top 6 one-season wonders in NBA history. Let's go. At number 6, I have Larry Hughes' season in 2004 for the Washington Wizards. Now, I don't want to underrate Larry Hughes' ability on the basketball court. This guy was a good player. However, the 2004-2005 seasons with the Wizards was just different. It wasn't just the fact that he averaged 22 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 4.7 assists. No, it was the fact that he averaged 2.9 steals per game while being all defensive first team. Larry Hughes is very underrated, but this season, even for how underrated he is, was just out of this world. I mean, this is an all-time great defensive season coming from a role player. This is just amazing, and that's why it comes at number 6 in this list. At number 5, I have Mike James's 2005 season with the Toronto Raptors. Now, you may know Mike James for being the ultimate journeyman of the NBA, but in this 2005 season, he was actually a very, very good player. In this season, Mike James averaged 20.3 points per game, 5.8 assists per game, and 3.3 rebounds per game. So much more than his career averages. It's very confusing how Mike James could not hold down a team for more than 2 seasons in his whole career, as he played for 11 different teams during his career, but hey, he was a pretty good role player, but this season was just a huge standout. Just take a look at his basketball reference page. At number 4, I have Dana Barros' 1994 season with the Philadelphia 76ers. In this season, Dana Barros averaged 20.6 points per game, 7.5 assists, 3.3 rebounds, and 1.8 steals, all career highs. On top of all these statistical highs, Dana Barros would collect his one and only All-Star selection. Interestingly enough, Dana Barros is actually the only All-Star we have on this list, and that's saying something because we have a lot of good seasons on this list, so put some respect on Dana Barros' name. At number 3, I have Aaron Brooks' season with the Houston Rockets in 2009. In this standout season with the Rockets, Brooks averaged 19.6 points per game, 5.3 assists, 2.6 rebounds, and 0.8 steals, all career highs. He also won Most Improved Player this year on top of all those statistical triumphs. For a guy that averaged under 10 points a game for his career, not a bad season at all. At number 2, I have Michael Carter-Williams' rookie season in 2013 with the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm sure you all remember this legendary season when we all thought MCW was going to be the next big thing. I mean, what else is there to say? He averaged 17, 6.3, and 6.2, 1.9 steals, all career highs, and one Rookie of the Year. Okay, I'm running out of time, but y'all know who number 1 is. It's Linsanity. No explanation needed. Top 6 weirdest stat lines in NBA history. Let's go. At number 6, I have Rip Hamilton with a stat line of 14 points on 0 of 10 shooting. This isn't even close to the weirdest on this list, but it is pretty weird going 0 for 10 but still managing to hit all of your free throws, going 14 of 14 from the line. That's pretty weird, and it deserves a spot on this list. At number 5, I have Rasul Butler committing a turnover in 0 seconds played. In a 2011 game when he was with the Raptors playing against the Lakers, Rasul Butler was inbounding a pass and did not manage to get the ball off, committing a turnover before he even got onto the floor. This is the only time this has happened in NBA history and is for sure one of the weirdest stat lines you'll ever see. Definitely deserves the number 5 spot. At number 4, I have the infamous 0 of everything game by Tony Snell. Chances are you probably have seen a graphic of Tony Snell recording 0 points, 0 assists, 0 steals, 0 rebounds, and 0 blocks in 28 minutes played. It's really not like Tony Snell was a bad player either, which makes this even more weird. He was a defensive specialist that stole a lot of passes, and to see him not even record that is pretty shocking, especially in 28 minutes. At number 3, I have William Bedford's 1 of everything. Now, this is even more impressive than Tony Snell's 0 of everything because along with the points, assists, rebounds, steals, and blocks, he also had 1 turnover, 1 foul, and 1 field goal attempt. The odds of recording 1 point in 8 different statistical categories is ridiculously low, and this deserves a really high spot at number 3. At number 2, I have Draymond Green's 4-point triple-double. I would almost say that this stat line is even more rare than a quadruple-double. If someone can record double digits in steals, rebounds, and assists, come on, they're kind of scoring points usually, but not Draymond Green. I'm guessing this game has never happened either with Draymond Green. I mean, I cannot imagine anyone else being able to record 10 steals, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists and not get the points. But yeah, you get the point. This is a very weird stat line, and there's only one game, in my opinion, that's weirder in all of NBA history. The number 1 weirdest stat line of all time goes to Dennis Rodman with 20 rebounds and nothing else. Now, Dennis Rodman actually did have 1 turnover in this game, but that's not the shocking part. The shocking part of this game is that Rodman played 43 minutes. 43! You're telling me in 43 minutes of play, you can't get a block, an assist, a steal, a point? This is insane. Rodman was just different, and he truly was literally just there to rebound. This is a number 1.